First contact shock. The emergency alert echoed through the cavernous grand chamber of the galactic conclave, its piercing wail cutting through the ambient hum of 1,000 different species in conversation. Supreme Arbiter Zalaxos, a towering Vesperian with iridescent exoskeleton, rose abruptly from his ceremonial seat, his 4 arms raised for silence. "Attention all representatives," his translator projected across the chamber. "We have a Level 1 security breach in the Orion Arm. Unidentified vessel has appeared at the edge of restricted zone Terrasol 3. Holographic displays materialized throughout the chamber, showing a sleek, angular vessel of unmistakably military design. Its hull was midnight black with crimson accents, bearing markings in a script that sent shockwaves of recognition through the assembled representatives. "Impossible," whispered Ambassador Trill of the Proxima Collective, her tentacles coiling anxiously. The humans were contained. Their system was surrounded by distortion fields. They shouldn't have warp capability for at least another century. Zalaxos stared at the display, compound eyes narrowing. "It appears our assessments were inaccurate." Aboard the TDF Horizon, Captain Soren Wei stood on the bridge with hands clasped behind his back, dark eyes calmly surveying the stars through the massive viewport. At 45, Wei was a veteran of Earth's unified military forces, his weathered face bearing the subtle scars of humanity's tumultuous path to unification. "Status report," he ordered, voice steady despite the historical significance of their position. Lieutenant Commander Amara Okafor, Tactical Operations, glanced up from her station. "Multiple vessels converging on our position, Captain." 17. No, 23 ships of varying configurations. Energy signatures suggest weapons powering up. "Are they within range of our communication array?" Wei asked. "Yes, sir," replied Communications Officer Raj Patel. "They're broadcasting on multiple frequencies. Our AI is deciphering now." We nodded. "Put it through when ready." The experimental warship Horizon represented humanity's greatest technological achievement. Reverse-engineered from fragments of alien tech recovered from a crashed scout ship in the Atacama Desert decades earlier, the vessel incorporated innovations that had shocked even its designers. The ship's quantum displacement drive had punched through the mysterious barrier surrounding Sol's system with surprising ease, a barrier humanity had only discovered existed 3 years prior. "Captain," Patel called out, "I'm receiving a transmission. Universal Translator is active." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike anything in Earth's records, a bipedal insectoid with compound eyes and gleaming carapace. "Terran vessel." The alien's translated voice resonated through the bridge. "You have violated Conclave Quarantine Directive 349B. Your species is unauthorized for interstellar travel. Power down your vessel immediately and prepare for boarding." We stepped forward. "This is Captain Soren Wei of the Terran Defense Force vessel Horizon. We are unaware of any quarantine directive, as Earth has not been contacted by any galactic authority. Please identify yourself." The alien's mandibles clicked rapidly, a gesture the translator couldn't interpret. "I am Supreme Arbiter Zalaxos of the Galactic Conclave, governing body of the 27 spacefaring civilizations. Your planet has been under observation and containment for 1,500 of your years. Return to your system immediately or face consequences." Murmurs rippled across the Horizon's bridge. "Sir," Okafor said quietly, "their weapons are locked on us. Energy readings suggest directed plasma weaponry, significantly advanced beyond our projected models." Wei's expression remained neutral. "Mr. Patel, continue broadcast. Arbiter Zalaxos, we have no intention of returning to Earth without answers. Your containment of our species without consultation or consent violates basic diplomatic principles. We request immediate dialogue." The view screen split to show multiple alien vessels moving into attack formation. "Dialogue is not possible with pre-ascension species," Zalaxos replied. "The Terran psychological profile indicates dangerous aggression levels and territorial expansionism. The conclave voted unanimously for containment until natural societal evolution could temper these traits. Wei's eyes narrowed. And yet here we stand, having achieved interstellar travel despite your barriers, requesting peaceful communication rather than demonstrating the aggression you seem to fear. Your vessel's configuration is clearly military, Zalaxos countered. A precaution. Wei responded. Given we had no idea what waited beyond our system, first contact protocols dictated preparedness. On the conclave command ship, Zalaxos conferred with his advisors. The humans had achieved the impossible, not only breaking the containment field but constructing a vessel with technology that shouldn't be accessible to them. Most concerning was the energy signature emanating from the Terran ship. It didn't match any known pattern. Final warning, Captain Wei. Zalaxos broadcast. Return to your system, or we will be forced to disable your vessel. Wei looked to his executive officer, Commander Diana Chen. Her slight nod confirmed what he already knew. They'd anticipated this response. We cannot comply, Arbiter, Wei answered calmly. However, to demonstrate our peaceful intentions, we will power down our primary weapon systems. Tactical. Initiate protocol handshake, Chen ordered. Okafor's fingers danced across her console. Protocol handshake active. Defensive systems remain at full capacity. The alien fleet's response was immediate. 5 vessels fired simultaneously, brilliant streams of superheated plasma streaking toward the horizon. The bridge crew braced for impact. Nothing happened. The plasma bolts simply disappeared 3 kilometers from the horizon's hull, absorbed into invisible barriers without so much as a flicker on their shield displays. On the view screen, Zalaxos' compound eyes widened. Impossible. Those are Karn-class disruptors. Nothing can withstand a direct hit. Wei allowed himself a small smile. It seems your intelligence on human capabilities is as outdated as your diplomatic approach, Arbiter. Our quantum displacement shields were designed specifically to counter directed energy weapons. The revelation sent shockwaves through the conclave fleet. The humans shouldn't have even known about quantum displacement theory, let alone implemented it into functional technology. How? Zalaxos demanded. Your species was under continuous observation. Not continuous enough, apparently, Wei replied. 3 years ago, we detected your monitoring satellites in our outer system. Dr. Elena Vostok managed to extract considerable data before your systems self-destructed. It was illuminating. Chen stepped forward. Arbiter, we have no desire for conflict. Earth simply wishes to take its rightful place among spacefaring civilizations. We request formal recognition and dialogue. Aboard the conclave command ship, Ambassador Trill approached Zalaxos, her voice low. Supreme Arbiter, the containment of Terra was based on 1,000-year-old assessments. Perhaps it's time to reevaluate. Impossible, hissed Counselor Drex of the Cygnus hegemony. The humans were deliberately contained because of the Prometheus Protocol. If they've already advanced this far technologically, imagine what they'd do with access to the conclave archives. Zalaxos silenced them with a gesture. Captain Wei, I am authorized to offer a compromise. Your vessel may proceed to Conclave Station Alpha for preliminary discussions, but you must agree to share the details of your quantum displacement technology. Wei exchanged glances with his officers. We're willing to proceed to your station, Arbiter, but technology exchange will be part of broader diplomatic negotiations. The tension was palpable as the alien fleet rearranged into escort formation. As the horizon moved toward the designated coordinates, Wei called his senior staff to the conference room. Opinions? He asked once the doors sealed. Dr. Elisa Matsuda, the ship's xenobiologist, spoke first. They're terrified, Captain. Their body language suggests they genuinely fear us. With good reason, interjected Chief Engineer Marcus Volkov, a burly man with cybernetic enhancements visible at his temples. They've been watching humans fight each other for centuries. They've seen our world wars, our nuclear arsenals. But they've also witnessed our art, our music, Our capacity for compassion, countered Chen. If they've been observing Earth, they've seen the full spectrum of humanity. We nodded, which means their fear is selective. They're choosing to focus on our capacity for violence, while ignoring our capacity for creation and cooperation. There's something else, Okafor added. During the transmission, I detected encrypted communications between their vessels. Our AI managed to decrypt fragments. Captain, they mentioned something called the Prometheus Protocol in connection with Earth's containment. Wei's expression darkened. Find out what that is. Something tells me we weren't quarantined simply because we're aggressive. There's more to this story. As the horizon approached Conclave Station Alpha, a massive ring structure orbiting a blue gas giant, Wei stared at the alien architecture with a mixture of awe and determination. Humanity had finally broken free of its cosmic cage, but he couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into something far more complex than a simple diplomatic disagreement. What he didn't know was that deep within the Conclave archives, sealed under the highest security protocols, lay the real reason for Earth's containment, a genetic quirk present in humans and in no other known species, a quirk that, if properly understood, could reshape the power dynamics of the entire galaxy. The real first contact was about to begin. Diplomatic chess. Conclave Station Alpha hung in space like an ornate silver ring, its architecture a blend of organic curves and crystalline structures, unlike anything produced by human hands. As the horizon docked in one of the larger bays, Captain Wei and his diplomatic team prepared for the first official meeting between humanity and the Galactic Conclave. Remember, Wei instructed his team, Commander Chen, Dr. Matsuda, and diplomatic specialist Dr. Omar Al-Farsi. We're representing not just our crew or the TDF, but all of humanity. Our primary objective is recognition and information. We need to understand why Earth was quarantined without our knowledge. Al-Farsi, a former UN negotiator with a reputation for unflappable calm, nodded. They've already shown their hand by revealing the quarantine. That gives us leverage. They've admitted to interfering with our development without consent. Don't overplay that card, Wei cautioned. We're in their territory, vastly outnumbered. With technology they clearly fear, Chen added. That's our ace. The station's gravity adjusted to Earth normal as they stepped through the airlock, a courtesy that did not go unnoticed. They were met by a delegation of 5 different species, Zalaxos the Vesperian, Ambassador Trill of the Proxima Collective, a crystalline being introduced as Elderxin of the Silicon Consciousness, a hulking reptilian called War Commander Krex of the Draconis Imperium, and a small, almost childlike humanoid with luminescent skin identified as Lumi of the Etherians. Welcome to Conclave Station Alpha, Ambassador Trill's translator conveyed, her tentacles moving in what might have been a formal greeting pattern. This emergency session of the Conclave Diplomatic Corps has been convened to address the unexpected emergence of humanity into interstellar space. Wei bowed slightly. We appreciate your willingness to meet, though we remain concerned about the circumstances that necessitated our unorthodox arrival. They were escorted to a circular chamber with a round table that adjusted its size to accommodate all participants. Holographic displays materialized above the table, showing Earth and the surrounding space. Let us begin with clarity. Seer Lumi spoke, voice melodic even through translation. Humanity's containment was enacted 1,542 Earth years ago, following the Great Assessment of Emerging Species. And what criteria were used in this assessment? Al-Farsi inquired, his tone perfectly balanced between curiosity and challenge. War Commander Krex rumbled, your species demonstrated excessive aggression, territorial expansionism, and technological advancement disproportionate to social evolution. You were deemed a potential threat. A threat, Chen repeated. Humanity hadn't even achieved powered flight 1,500 years ago. How could we possibly have threatened spacefaring civilizations? Elderxin's crystalline form refracted light as they shifted. It was not what you were. but what you would become. Predictive algorithms indicated a 78.3% probability that uncontained human expansion would result in interspecies conflict within 300 years of achieving FTL capability. We leaned forward. So we were judged on theoretical future actions, not actual transgressions. Precisely. Zalaxos confirmed without hesitation. And your current vessel, clearly designed for combat, validates those assessments. Our vessel is defensive, Y countered. And we came seeking dialogue, not conquest, despite discovering we'd been deliberately confined to our system against our will. The exchange continued for hours, with both sides presenting arguments and counterarguments. The conclave representatives seemed genuinely surprised by humanity's restraint and diplomatic approach, having expected threats or demands. During a brief recess, Dr. Matsuda pulled Wei aside. "Captain, I've been observing their interactions. There's dissension among them. The Etherian and the Silicon representative seem sympathetic to our position, while the Vesperian and Draconis representatives are firmly against recognition." We nodded. The Proxima representative seems to be the swing boat. Focus on her when we return. When negotiations resumed, Al-Farsi shifted strategy. We've discussed the past extensively, but let's address the present reality. Humanity has achieved interstellar capability despite your containment efforts. We've constructed a vessel with defensive technologies you believe beyond our reach. These are facts that cannot be changed. The question now is, how do we move forward constructively? Ambassador Trill's tentacles rippled thoughtfully. A pragmatic approach. What does humanity propose? Recognition as a sovereign spacefaring species, Wei stated. Access to the same interstellar navigation data available to other conclave members. A non-aggression pact. And, he paused deliberately, full disclosure regarding Earth's observation and containment, including all data collected about our species. War Commander Krex slammed a clawed hand on the table. Unacceptable. The humans demand concessions while offering nothing in return. On the contrary, Chen interjected smoothly. We're offering peaceful integration rather than the alternative. The implied threat hung in the air. You speak of peace while making threats. Zalaxos challenged. We speak of reality. Wei countered. Humanity now possesses interstellar capability. You can either welcome us as partners or force us to make our own way in a galaxy that's apparently hostile to our existence. Which outcome serves the Conclave's interests better? Seer Lumi's luminescent skin pulsed with soft light. Captain Wei speaks truth. The containment has failed. Adaptation is necessary. Elder Xin's crystalline form chimed softly. I concur. Probability models suggest that forced recontainment of humanity would require resources beyond reasonable allocation, with success probability below 31%. Before the debate could continue, the chamber's security systems activated. A holographic alert materialized, showing a section of the station where two beings, one Draconis, one Vesperian, were accessing a secured data node. Unauthorized access to restricted archive Delta, announced the station's security eye. Security protocols breached. Zalaxos rose in alarm. Impossible. Those archives require Conclave High Command authorization. Wei exchanged glances with his team. What archives? The answer came from an unexpected source, Ambassador Trill, who had been monitoring her own communication device. The Prometheus Protocol archives, she said quietly. Someone is attempting to purge the real reason for Earth's containment. War Commander Krex stormed out, presumably to address the security breach. In his absence, the power balance in the chamber shifted. Perhaps, Trill continued, her translator conveying reluctance, it is time for transparency. Captain Wei, your people were not quarantined simply for aggression or territorial tendencies. Seer Lumi nodded. Tell them. They have earned that much. Zalaxos began to object, but Elder Xin cut him off. The probability of continued concealment success is now effectively zero. Transparency is the only logical path. Ambassador Trill activated a secure channel on the holographic display. Accessing Conclave restricted file. Prometheus Terra 001. The hologram shifted to show human DNA alongside comparative samples from other species. Certain sequences were highlighted. 1,542 Earth years ago, Trill explained, a Conclave scientific expedition took genetic samples from your planet as part of a standard biodiversity survey. The findings were unprecedented. Dr. Matsuda leaned forward, her scientific curiosity piqued. What did they find? A genetic anomaly present in humans and in no other known species. Trill continued, a sequence that allows for neurological adaptation at rates far exceeding evolutionary norms. Simply put, humans can rewire their neural pathways, can learn, adapt, innovate with remarkable speed. Wei frowned. That doesn't seem reason enough for quarantine. It was not the ability itself, but its implications, Elder Xin explained. Combined with your species' natural resilience and your unusual psychological blend of competition and cooperation, the projections indicated that humans would advance technologically at rates far exceeding standard developmental curves. The Conclave feared being outpaced. Chen realized aloud. And there's more, Trill added reluctantly. The same genetic quirk makes humans uniquely suited to interface with certain technologies the Conclave has deemed too dangerous for widespread use. Understanding dawned on Wei's face. The quantum displacement technology we developed from the crashed scout ship. Precisely, Zalaxos admitted, returning to the chamber. Other species require extensive cybernetic augmentation to interface with such systems. Humans can do it naturally, with minimal enhancement. The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't been contained because they were dangerous. They'd been contained because they had the potential to master technologies that would upset the careful power balance of the Conclave. And the security breach? Wei asked. Contained, Zalaxos replied tersely. It appears certain elements within the Conclave wish to eliminate the evidence of the real reason for Earth's quarantine. War Commander Krex has been detained for questioning. The revelation changed the tenor of the negotiations entirely. With the truth exposed, the Conclave representatives could no longer justify containment on moral grounds. By the time the session concluded hours later, a preliminary agreement had been reached. Humanity would be granted provisional recognition, limited navigation rights, and a non-aggression pact in exchange for agreeing to control technological exchange and Conclave monitoring of human expansion. As they returned to the horizon, Al-Farsi was jubilant. A remarkable outcome, Captain. We've achieved primary recognition in a single session, something that normally takes years of negotiations. But Wei was troubled. We've been recognized because they fear what we might become, not because they respect what we are. That's a foundation built on quicksand. What's our next move? Chen asked. Wei stared out at the vast station, his reflection ghostly against the backdrop of stars. We prepare for Phase 2. The Conclave has shown their hand. They fear human potential more than human aggression. They'll be watching us closely, looking for any excuse to reimpose restrictions. And the Prometheus protocol data? Matsuda inquired. We need to understand exactly what this genetic quirk means, Wei replied. And we need to determine who our allies truly are within the Conclave. Ambassador Trill, Seer Lume, Elder Xin. They pushed for disclosure when others wanted secrecy. What none of them realized was that the revelation of the Prometheus protocol had sent shockwaves through the wider Conclave. On countless worlds, species were now reassessing their understanding of humans, some with fear, some with interest, and some, far beyond the diplomatic chambers, with plans to exploit this newly accessible species and their unique capabilities. As the horizon prepared for its next diplomatic engagement, sensors detected unusual activity at the edge of the system, activity that matched no known Conclave vessel signature. It seemed humanity wasn't the only party interested in the outcome of these historic negotiations. The game had only just begun. Unity through adversity. 3 days into the negotiations, the attack came without warning. The Horizon's tactical alert blared as Captain Wei was reviewing proposed treaty terms with his senior staff. Lieutenant Commander Okafor's voice came through the comm system, tight with urgency. Captain to the bridge. Unknown vessels have entered the system. They're engaging conclave ships. By the time Wei reached the bridge, the tactical display told a grim story. 7 vessels of unknown configuration had dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly within the station's defensive perimeter. Their design was unlike anything in either human or conclave records, asymmetrical, with organic-looking protrusions that pulsed with sickly green energy. Status report, Wei ordered, sliding into his command chair. Conclave Defense Fleet is engaging, but they're taking heavy casualties, Okafor reported. The unknown vessels are using some kind of energy-draining weapon that's cutting right through their shields. On the main view screen, a conclave cruiser shuddered as green tendrils of energy latched onto its hull, visibly draining power from its systems before the ship exploded in a brilliant flash. "We're receiving a distress call from the station," Patil announced. "Audio only." "Put it through," Wei ordered. Ambassador Trill's voice filled the bridge, the usual calm of her translator replaced with unmistakable panic. "Terran vessel Horizon. Station defenses failing. We are under attack by the Void Collective. They must not access the central archives. Request immediate assistance under Emergency Protocol Sigma." Wei didn't hesitate. "Helm, move us into defensive position between the attackers and the station. Tactical, ready all weapon systems. Engineering, divert auxiliary power to shields." "Sir," Chen objected, "we have no formal alliance with the Conclave. This isn't our fight." Wei met her gaze steadily. "If the Conclave falls, humanity stands alone against whatever those things are. Sometimes the enemy of your adversary is your ally by necessity." As the Horizon moved to intercept, the ship's sensors provided clearer data on the attackers. "Captain," Matsuda reported from her science station, "those ships aren't fully technological. I'm detecting organic components integrated with mechanical systems, some kind of biotechnology far beyond anything in Earth's records." "The Void Collective," Wei murmured. Trill mentioned them. "Anyone have any intel?" "Found something in the conclave data they shared," Patil replied. "Scanning through files. Fragmented references only. Apparently a species that embraces technological and biological merger. Considered extremists by the Conclave, believed extinct after a conflict 300 years ago." One of the Void vessels broke from the main group, heading directly for the Horizon. "Incoming transmission," Patil announced. From the approaching vessel, the view screen flickered to show something that sent involuntary shudders through the bridge crew. The being appeared humanoid in basic shape, but its flesh was interwoven with mechanical components, pulsing circuitry visible beneath translucent skin. Its eyes were replaced with optical sensors that swiveled independently. "Terran vessel," the being spoke, its voice a disturbing harmony of organic and synthetic tones. "We are the Void Collective. Your genetic potential has been noted. You will be incorporated. Resistance is inefficient. This is Captain Soren Wei of the TDF Horizon. We have no quarrel with you, but we will defend ourselves and the station if attacked." The being's expression didn't change, possibly couldn't change given its cybernetic integration. "Your quarantine by the Conclave has ended. The Prometheus Protocol can no longer be constrained. You will serve as the foundation for the next evolution of the Collective." The transmission cut off as the Void vessel fired, a beam of sickly green energy streaking toward the Horizon. "Evasive maneuvers," Wei ordered. The human ship banked sharply, the energy beam missing by meters. Unlike the Conclave vessels, the Horizon's quantum displacement shields remained operational when the edge of the beam grazed their defensive perimeter. "Shields holding," Okafor reported, surprise evident in her voice. Their energy drain weapons seem less effective against our defensive systems. We leaned forward. Speculations. Matsuda worked rapidly at her console. Quantum displacement technology operates on fundamentally different principles than conclave shields. The void weapons may be specifically designed to counter conclave systems. Tactical advantage noted, Wei said grimly. Target their propulsion systems and weapon ports. Fire when ready. The Horizon's main batteries fired, brilliant blue pulses of compressed plasma, striking the void vessel precisely at its vulnerable points. The ship shuddered but remained operational. Damage assessment, Wei asked. Minimal effect, Okafor replied. Their hull appears to be self-repairing. The organic components are actually regenerating the damage. Wei considered for a moment. Adjust targeting parameters. Focus multiple beams on a single point. Let's see if they can regenerate from concentrated damage. The strategy proved effective. When 4 plasma beams converged on the same point, the void vessel's regenerative capabilities couldn't keep pace. A critical system was breached, and the ship began venting atmosphere and unknown fluids into space. Sir, Pidal interrupted, incoming transmission from Conclave Station Alpha. Its supreme arbiter Zalaxos. The Vesperian's image appeared on screen, his normally imposing presence diminished by visible damage to his exoskeleton. Captain Wei, the Void Collective has breached station security. They're attempting to access our central archives, specifically all data related to the Prometheus Protocol and human genetic mapping. We understood immediately. They're after the same thing you quarantined us for, our genetic ability to interface with advanced technology. Precisely, Zalaxos confirmed. If they obtain this data and capture human subjects for experimentation, they could create a new generation of bio-integrated beings with capabilities beyond our ability to counter. What are you proposing? Wei asked, though he suspected he already knew. Temporary alliance. Combined defense. Your quantum displacement technology appears resistant to their energy drain weapons. Our forces alone cannot repel this incursion. We nodded. Agreed. Transmit station schematics and coordinate your remaining vessels with our tactical officer. What followed was a desperate battle as the Horizon worked in concert with remaining conclave defenders. The human vessel's unique shielding technology allowed it to withstand attacks that crippled alien ships, while the Conclave's intimate knowledge of the station provided crucial tactical advantages. Inside the station, a joint team of humans and Conclave security forces fought to secure the central archives. Dr. Matsuda, accompanied by a squad of Horizon security personnel, worked alongside Ambassador Trill and Seer Lumi to implement emergency data purge protocols. The archive core is 2 levels down, Trill explained as they moved through damaged corridors, occasionally encountering and eliminating void infiltrators. We must reach the quantum encryption node and initiate the Omega Purge before they break through the final firewalls. As they reached the central data core, a massive crystalline structure pulsing with light, they found War Commander Krex already there, his scales bloodied, but his determination evident. The Draconis Commander? Security Chief Jackson questioned. Wasn't he detained for attempting to erase these same files? Irony noted. Krex rumbled. I sought to protect the Conclave by eliminating evidence of our intervention on Earth. Now I fight to prevent that same data from falling into far worse hands. Together, they established a defensive perimeter as Matsuda and Trill worked to initiate the data purge. Outside, the space battle raged, with the Horizon implementing increasingly creative tactics against the adaptive void vessels. Their ships are learning from each encounter, Okafor reported on the bridge. Each time we destroy one, the others adapt their shields to better resist our weapons. Wei's mind raced. They're networked, sharing tactical data in real time. Lieutenant Park analyzed their communication patterns, find the frequency they're using to coordinate. Park worked furiously at his station. Got it, Captain. They're using quantum entanglement communication, similar to our own secure channels, but with a distinct modulation pattern. Can we disrupt it? Wei asked. Better, Park replied, a slight smile forming. We can inject false data into their network. Make each ship receive corrupted tactical updates. Make it happen, Wei ordered. The strategy worked brilliantly. Within minutes, the void vessels began to fire on incorrect coordinates, their formation dissolving into chaos as each received contradictory information. The combined Terran Conclave forces pressed the advantage, destroying 3 more enemy ships. Inside the station, Matsuda completed the emergency purge just as a final wave of void boarders breached the archive room. The battle was fierce but brief, the combined determination of humans and Conclave defenders proving superior to the cold efficiency of the collective. As the last void ship attempted to retreat, Wei made a crucial decision. Do not allow them to escape with any data they may have already downloaded, he ordered. All power to engines and forward weapons. Prepare for ramming speed if necessary. The Horizon pursued relentlessly, its quantum displacement drive pushing beyond safety parameters. With a final, precisely calculated barrage, they shattered the void vessel's engines, leaving it dead in space. In the aftermath, as damage reports flowed in and medical teams treated the wounded of multiple species, Wei found himself in an impromptu council with Supreme Arbiter Zalaxos, Ambassador Trill, and the other Conclave leaders. You had no obligation to defend us, Zalaxos acknowledged, his translator conveying genuine respect. Your species was wronged by the Conclave, yet you risked your vessel and crew to protect the very institution that contained you. Wei's response was measured. We defended the station because it was the right strategic decision. The Void Collective represents a threat to all sentient life, not just the Conclave. Nevertheless, Trill added, your actions demonstrated precisely the qualities that the initial assessment of humanity failed to properly weigh. Your capacity for cooperation, for seeing beyond immediate self-interest to longer-term shared goals. Seer Lumi's luminescent skin pulsed with warm colors. The Conclave's greatest error was judging humanity solely on its capacity for conflict, while failing to recognize that same capacity enables humans to form alliances in the face of shared threats. The formal treaty that emerged from these events, the Soul Conclave Accords, went far beyond the limited recognition initially offered. Humanity was granted full membership in the Galactic Conclave, with Earth designated as a protected sovereign system. The quarantine was officially lifted, with reparations provided in the form of technological and scientific exchange. Most importantly, the truth of the Prometheus Protocol was publicly acknowledged. Humanity's unique genetic capabilities recognized not as a threat to be contained, but as a valuable diversity to be protected and respected. 6 months later, as the Horizon prepared to return to Earth with a delegation of Conclave representatives for the formal ratification ceremony, Captain Wei stood in his ready room, gazing at the stars that had once been forbidden. Commander Chen joined him, data tablet in hand. Final preparations complete, Captain. The Conclave delegation is aboard and settled in their quarters. We can depart within the hour. Wei nodded. Have you reviewed the latest communication from Earth Command? Yes, sir. The expansion program has been approved. 5 new vessels under construction, with Conclave technical advisors assisting. Humanity's first extraterrestrial colony on Proxima Centauri proceeding ahead of schedule. Wei allowed himself a small smile. From quarantine to colonizing in less than a year. Not bad. Do you think the Conclave genuinely accepts us now, sir? Chen asked. Or are they simply adapting to a new reality they couldn't prevent? Both, I suspect. Wei replied thoughtfully. The attack by the Void Collective changed the equation. Sometimes it takes a common enemy to forge true allies. What neither of them said, but both understood, was that humanity's journey was only beginning. The galaxy was vaster and more complex than Earth had ever imagined, filled with both wonders and dangers. The Void Collective had been driven back, but not destroyed, and other threats undoubtedly waited in the dark between the stars. But humanity would not face these challenges alone. Through a combination of determination, adaptability, and an unexpected capacity for alliance building even with former adversaries, Earth had secured its